The Island of Cold Wind. On a cloudy morning, 5 experienced fishermen decided to explore a remote island known as the Island of Cold Wind. This island, surrounded by legends of disappearances, was famous for its rich marine biodiversity. Upon arrival, they felt a shift in the air, as if nature were warning them to leave. Ignoring the feeling, they set up camp on the beach, where the cold breeze sent chills down their spines. At night, as the group shared stories around the campfire, strange whispers began to emerge from the dense forest. The voices seemed to call their names, mixing eerie laughter with laments. One of the fishermen, Marco, decided to investigate. He wandered away from the camp, drawn by a faint light flickering between the trees. As he approached, he discovered what appeared to be an abandoned campsite, filled with personal belongings, such as fishing rods and black and white photographs of fishermen who had disappeared years earlier. When he returned to the group, Marco was pale and breathless. The next day, the group noticed that one of their members, Raphael, was missing. They searched desperately, but the island seemed to have changed shape, with vegetation growing unnaturally and paths disappearing. Each time they called for Raphael, whispers echoed back, mimicking their voices. Tension mounted as night fell again. As they prepared for the worst, Marco had a vivid nightmare. He was in the forest, surrounded by the shadows of the missing fishermen, warning him not to return. The next morning, upon waking, he found a message written in the sand. "He is not the first." In despair, the group managed to escape the island, but the pain of loss and the terror of visions haunted their minds. Fishermen who attempted to return in the following years reported similar experiences, never daring to venture into the waters of the Island of Cold Wind again. The monster of Lake Champlain. On a sunny day in July 1977, a fisherman named John decided to explore the mysterious waters of Lake Champlain, known for its legends of a monster similar to the famous Loch Ness. As he cast his line, a strange sensation began to envelop him. The lake, which had previously seemed calm, now rippled unsettlingly. Suddenly, something massive submerged beneath his canoe, causing it to sway violently. The creature, about 10 meters long, emerged from the depths, revealing a long, scaly neck, piercing eyes, and a mouth full of sharp teeth. John was paralyzed with terror as the creature swam around his canoe, almost as if studying him. He tried to photograph the scene, but his camera inexplicably failed, as if an unknown force were interfering. When he returned to shore, John reported what he had seen, but few believed him. Months later, a group of fishermen in the same area disappeared mysteriously, leaving only their canoes adrift and a sense of dread in the air. Local residents began to report strange sounds at night and unusual lights reflecting off the water. Those who dared to fish at night felt they were being watched, and many abandoned the activity. The story of the monsters spread, and even today, those who visit Lake Champlain avoid the waters at night, fearing that the creature from the depths may rise again, the ghost of the fisherman. A solitary fisherman named Luis decided to spend the weekend at a remote river known for its tranquility and good fishing. As he set up camp, he didn't notice the subtle signs that he wasn't alone. On the first night, while fishing under the moonlight, he heard a distant cry, like someone in pain. Intrigued yet scared, he decided to follow the sound to the riverbank. As he approached, he saw the silhouette of a man dressed in fishing clothes, seemingly trapped in a tangle of vines. The man looked at Louise with desperate eyes, pleading for help. As Louise reached out his hand, the figure vanished into a thick fog, leaving only echoes of malicious laughter. That night, Louise was consumed by nightmares, dreaming of the ghostly fisherman and the screams of his vanished companions. At dawn, he found a canoe by the river, filled with rusty fishing gear, and a photo of a group of men, one of whom was the man he had seen the night before. The man's face appeared aged and marked by pain, and on the back of the photo was written, "Never again." Desperate, Luis decided to leave. On his way back, he heard laughter and whispers that seemed to follow him. He never fished at that river again, and every time he thought of that place, a chill ran down his spine. Fishermen who tried to fish there afterward reported the same feeling of being watched, and some claimed to have seen the figure of the fisherman on their solitary nights. Disappearance on the Oregon coast. In 2002, a group of 6 fishermen set out for an expedition on the Oregon coast, drawn by the promise of great fish. The atmosphere was tense from the start. The winds howled, and a thick fog began to form. On the second day, at dawn, they realized that one of their members, David, was missing from his tent. Alarmed, they searched everywhere but found no trace of him. As the fog began to dissipate, they discovered a broken fishing rod in the sand and signs of a struggle. Desperate, they called out for David, but the echo of their voices was the only answer. As they tried to understand what had happened, one of the fishermen, Mark, had a disturbing vision. He saw David's silhouette moving toward the sea, surrounded by a dark shadow. After hours of searching, they decided to call the authorities, but even then, David's body was never found. As days passed, other fishermen in the area began to report hearing screams coming from the sea and visions of a shadowy figure lurking among the waves. Fishermen who attempted to return to the coast in the following months reported similar experiences: an inexplicable chill, whispers on the wind, and a feeling that something evil was watching them. The stories of David's disappearance transformed into legends, and the Oregon coast became a place avoided by fishermen and travelers, fearing the spirit that seemed to wander among the waves, waiting for more victims.